I guess we are all brought here because of Shakyamuni Buddha. Anyway, that's how I like to believe. And if that is the case, I think your time and energy and your, your sacrifice of a lot of things is worth it. I have just met people who traveled from San Francisco and New York, 16 hours flight yesterday, and they're leaving tomorrow back there. As I said, if it is to celebrate by remembering the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, then I think it's worth it. I'm saying this partly because I want to also save my own skin. Because, if you are coming just to see me or hear me, this is a big pleasure for me. I was calculating your airfare, your hotels, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I also know a lot of you struggle a lot. You just barely manage to pay your bills. So I like to just soothe myself, thinking that you are all here for the Dharma. That makes me kind of happy, and I rejoice. Recently, a Tibetan journalist asked me some questions for a podcast. And I was telling him that only recently I got so inspired by the teachings of the Buddha. Very recently. Of course, I was born in a Buddhist family. And from both sides of my parents, my families, they are like a Taliban of Buddhism. They are like a hardline Buddhist. And as they were introducing me, yes, I guess, relatively speaking, I have gone through lots of vigorous training. And as I grow up, yes, maybe I was patriotic towards Buddhism. But that's not good, From a Buddhadharma's point of view, being patriotic towards Buddhism is not necessarily a great thing. It could be actually a bad thing. Yes, but I have to admit, I became more and more patriotic Buddhist. Today, I would like to confess a few things. Not everything, okay? Few things. When I was studying in Europe, I tried to read a lot of books. And one day, I encountered some books, sort of essays written or taught by Immanuel Kant. And I'm sure you know, Immanuel Kant is a very big influence in the modern, so-called modern Western sort of thinking. Very big. Karl Marx, I believe, was very much influenced by Immanuel Kant. And Immanuel Kant's sort of nuance, flavor is all-pervasive. Singaporeans also love him without Singaporeans even knowing it. Of course, the Japanese, the Koreans, they love him. But you know what Immanuel Kant said? He said, India, China, and Africa have no philosophy. He said, yeah, Chinese, they have a little bit of some, instructions on how to live. I guess he means Confucianism, to sort of respect the elders and filial piety and all that. And India, forget it. They have no philosophy. In Africa, it's like even worse almost. You can, chat GPT it if you want to know what he really said. But I read this long time ago, about 30 years ago, maybe 40. But as I said, as a patriotic Buddhist, I was boiling. And when I was in Europe, I was like, one day I am going to tell the world, no, there is philosophy in India. Just Buddha himself alone. But actually, even to categorize Buddhist teachings as a philosophy is not doing service. Yes, it may be seen as a philosophy, but it is also most pragmatic. Our gathering today, the title which we sort of chose as Outwitting the Distraction, that is actually, if you think about it, probably one of the most pragmatic thing to do. But anyway, as I said, only recently maybe I'm boasting a little bit here, but also it is embarrassing to tell you, after 60 years of being so-called Buddhist, I'm only recently having a genuine sort of, wow, this is what Buddha said 2,500 years ago. I mean, was cooked, marinated, and soaked into the Buddhist world. But I was only patriotic, not really sort of, I don't know, not really deeply appreciated. And now, looking ahead, because of that little inspiration and some sort of appreciation towards the Buddha's teaching that I have, now looking ahead, no matter what kind of changes in the world happens, there is always an answer that can be found in the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. And I think it's going to be even more and more relevant because the modern people like us, and more than us, our next generation, they are challenged by all kinds of challenges. There's a challenge of identity crisis. There's a challenge of sanity crisis. And actually, when I was young, like even my 20s, the modern world actually I don't think they have a term mental health. It's now people are beginning to talk about mental health. That shows people are beginning to talk about mental health. This is a good news for 84,000 because we have the remedy. And of course, mental health, as we all know, we are challenged by all kinds of mental issues, including myself, by the way. I'm a very anxious person. I'm paranoid most of the time. I sort of soothe myself thinking, oh, well, paranoid survives. That's what people say. So it's okay to be more paranoid than relax. The level of my paranoia is sometimes really scary. For instance, I'll give you, this is maybe useless, but maybe I'll share it with you anyway. Moment I sit in a restaurant with few people, I'm always looking at their fingers, whether they're recording any of my conversation. And also, I'm always looking at the angle of the way they hold their phone. Is it like this or like this? And it's just, and then I have this label. I have been pasted with a label of some sort of a stakeholder. Yeah. I must have done few good things in my previous life because I actually don't have these big stakeholders titles. Yeah, I'm not what the Chinese call Fa Wang, right? I am not, and please, I beg you, don't give me this. If you want to practice compassion, start by not giving me this. I'm already dangerously close to this sort of a figure that represent the Dharma, which is it's a pleasure, I'm telling you. And I can try my best to behave. It will last maybe 3 hours, that's it. And one thing I don't want is because of me, it ruins the image of the Buddha. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Going back to Buddha's teaching, absolutely relevant now more than ever. For everything, even gardening, parenting, of course, management, leadership, in every level, the wisdom of the Buddha more than ever has become important. And so this is why, we are very happy that we are celebrating the 15th year of our translation of the words of the Buddha. By the way, I don't do much. I just sometimes talk like this. Rest, it's the volunteers, the translators, the scholars. They really sweat and bleed. And also, of course, the patrons who sacrifice consciously a cappuccino for a page of the page of a Buddha's sutra for the cappuccino. Just our title alone, which actually is extracted from, and this I have to say is one of the higher Mahayana sutras, and also some of the general tantric teachings, the outwitting the distraction. So before we, I've been told that most of the participants are Buddhists, but anyway, if they are just, some of you who are not really Buddhists, but you are here because of your friends and family, please, you are very welcome to sit through. But because majority of us are Buddhists, we will begin this today's, did we call ourselves retreat? Yeah, okay. So we will begin with, refuge. And, to tie up with the title, Outwitting the Distraction. In the context of outwitting the distraction, what is refuge? Fundamentally, you need to accept and accept that distractions can be overcome. Of course, it may take time. Some of the distractions can be quite subtle. Some of the distractions can be stubborn, but nevertheless, they are, purifiable, so to speak. That is actually one of the quintessential foundation of the refuge. It's like doing laundry, When you do laundry, you need to believe that it's washable. Even if you have a little doubt, maybe it's not washable, then, the whole laundry process will be very weak and it's going to be really sort of half-hearted. And yes, of course, many of you, those who have been practicing Buddhadharma, sometimes we get discouraged. After 60 years of being Buddhist, I'm still angry, I'm still jealous, I'm still paranoid. My distractions is not removable. That kind of, weakness can arise. That is being too hard on yourself and too unfair to the Dharma, How much Dharma did you practice? Even if you are so diligent this life, it is only 60 years against 60 billion lifetimes in the past. So, with this context, we will begin with a refuge. Okay. So what I will do is please repeat. I will say the refuge prayers, and then please repeat. Those who are not taking refuge, you can just observe. Okay, please fold your palms together and then repeat what I say. Tsumpa, Gonsosol, Da Ming, Dishijiva, Tu, Tane, Zunte, Jisi, Changchup, Ningbola, Chiji, Bardo, Kani, Namji, Cho, Sanjala, Japsucho, Dachatang, Chalwa, Namji, Cho, Chola, Japsucho, So, Namji, Cho, Gendunla, Japsucho, Da, Jisi, Soi, Bardo, Japsum, Zimbe, Genyendo, Zumpe, Zondu Solu. So, briefly, what you are saying is I take refuge to the Buddha as the guide, Dharma as take refuge to the Dharma as the path, and take refuge to the Sangha as the companion. Okay? So please repeat again, this time a shorter one. Sanjela, Japsucho, Chola, Japsucho, Gedunla, Japsucho. Okay, again, the word Buddha in Sanskrit means awaken. And because most of Buddhists, we are so used to using the word Buddha, sometimes we kind of get lost in these very exotic words. Actually, it can be something very simple. It's basically a discovery. You know, sometimes in life, we discover or we get awakened or we get awakened to a certain fact. It could be anything. It could be, you know, just because phenomena, our life can be very deceiving. Deceptions can be created by our environment. Deceptions can be created by our friends, education, culture, tradition. And then we also sort of end up educating ourselves and then fall into that deception. Sometimes without anybody helping, or the other times with somebody helping, we awake from that deception. It can be anything. It can be anything. Nothing special. It can be like a character, somebody that you always think this somebody is not a good person because of how he or she appears, because of how other people talks about him or her. But one day you awake, you realize, oh, this person is actually good person. Yeah, that level of awakening we are talking about. So keep that in your head. When we say, I take refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, we are talking about awaking to the truth. Just this morning, I met a very old friend who has been with my friend for so long, and he came to me and said, he need to prepare to die. That is a good awakening. So, again, keeping this in your head, repeat one more time. This time I will chant in Sanskrit. Okay. Buddham, Sharanam, Gacchami, Dharmam, Sharanam, Gacchami, Sangam, Sharanam, Gacchami. See this, we have done the refuge to begin our day. And since I believe most of you who are participating here are Mahayana, following the Mahayana, we will now do the Bodhicitta. Okay. How is this tied up with outwitting the distraction? Oh, so many ways. Okay, one very fundamental one. you an example. One of the fundamental practice or the path of the Bodhisattva or the Bodhicitta is to really cherish others instead of only oneself. Most of our struggles happens because we only cherish ourselves. If we don't harm others, definitely we don't cherish others. Cherishing ourselves is a one big habit. And now more than ever, there's even a book called, yes, I think there's a book called Sanctuary of Self. It's a very, very important, strong habit. It's even institutionalized, even on the national level. Even in the United Nations, there's actually a document called Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There's no document called Universal Declaration of Human Responsibility. Self, so important. Self, individualism, rights, so important. And it's a bit like a drug, this sort of freedom, individualism. We get so sort of intoxicated by these concepts. I'm quite sure more people have been killed in the name of individual rights or democracy or whatever. If we look at our consumer lifestyle, it's all about cherishing individualism or the self-cherishing. And it has become even more sophisticated. It is custom made for you. If I am Googling if I'm looking for a sunglass in the Amazon, and my friend is also looking at the sunglass at the Amazon, it looks different. Page looks different. And, the Amazon that I'm looking at has things that I usually orders. So we become, that's how we cherish ourselves. And there's so many institute and the system and the machine that actually fortify these. So the Bodhicitta is really outwitting that. For once, even it is fake, even it is on the intellectual level, we try to outwit this self-cherishing by cherishing others. So this is just one aspect of the Bodhisattva path. And there is, a ritual, or, there is, yes, there's a ritual of taking the Bodhisattva vow, so which we will do it now. And after taking the refuge, I will explain the actual Bodhisattva path, and that probably will become our main talking point this time. So again, please repeat after me. Chitar, Nganji, Desheji, Changchup, Tuni, Jepatong, Changchup, Sempe, Lapala, Teta, Rimjin, Napatar, Tejin, Drola, Pendundo, Changchup, Semni, Jejishing, Tejin, Tuni, Lapalang, Rimba, Shindu, Labarchi. Okay, one more time. Chitar, Nganji, Desheji, Changchup, Tuni, Jebatan, Changchup, Sempe, Lapala, Teta, Rimjin, Nepatar, Tejin, Drola, Pendundo, Changchup, Semni, Jejishing, Tejin, Duni, Lapalang, Rimba, Shindo, Labarji. The last one. Chitar, Nganji, Desheji, Changchup, Tuni, Jepatang, Changchup, Sempi, Shapala, Teta, Rimjin, Nepatar, Dejin, Drola, Pendundu, Changchup, Semni, Jejishing, Dejin, Duni, Shapalang, Jimba, Shindu, Labarji. Okay, now let's begin with thinking. Whatever we do today, our listening to and the discussion of this, but even seemingly mundane, like eating and drinking and, I don't know, conversing with the people, may they, one way or another way, end up becoming a path to the enlightenment. We will do 15 minutes of just sitting. I will tell you how. No visualization. This time, I'm only asking you to just sit. A straight spine would be good, but if that's difficult, I'm not going to push. Okay. Now, how is this going to outwit distraction? You will find out. Because when you sit, when you confine yourself and tell yourself, I am going to sit 15 minutes, then gradually you will realize just incredible waterfall-like thoughts. And that is your first sign of having done a meditation. If you are fighting in the battle, at least you need to know who are the enemies. Otherwise, you have a big problem. So at least this one should let you know that you have thoughts. Most of the time you don't think about thoughts. You are thinking about other things. Okay, so we are going to now sit, just sit. Okay, if you can, try not to cough, scratch, like, I don't know. I'm not going to be too, like strict. Okay. Okay. So impressive. You guys done so well. I mean, some of you are quite used to this, but there are some people, from Penang who has horn growing from their bottom, and I see even he managed to sit. Anyway, retreat means isolate also. So just sitting, you isolate from moving your fingers on the phone, or isolate from surrendering to, oh, let's have a walk. So that's one of the most fundamental way of outwitting the distraction. It's really simple. But I know some of you, you will never do this after this. It's okay. Don't worry. I don't care. You have done it once, at least in this life. If you come back after the break, we will do maybe four more times. Thank you.